Hello, families of Graham Local Schools. My name is Ryan Rissmiller. I am the principal here at Graham High School. This video presentation is to share with you the graduation requirements for the class of 2018 and beyond. The state of Ohio, over the course of the last 3 years, has transitioned away from the Ohio graduation test and is now using the Ohio State test. The Ohio State test was last year recognized as the AIR test, and prior to that was recognized as the PARCC test. But last year, over the course of the year, the state has identified that it will refer to this end of course test as the Ohio State test. I would like to share with you the requirements as set by the Ohio Department of Education, which these serve in addition to the 21 credits that are set aside by schools of the state of Ohio and our service and shadow policies. And as you can see here, these are the 21 credits. The 21 credits, in addition to the American government and American history that are listed, students will have a biology, an algebra 1, geometry, and a English 1, English 2, and sometimes in some locations those will be recognized as English 9 and English 10. So over the course of a student's testing career for the Ohio State test, students will be taking 7 different Ohio State tests and trying to achieve the minimum thresholds as set by the state of Ohio. On this page, you can see that the minimum threshold the state has set for proficiency is a 700-point score on a scaled score that they utilize to measure their test. Now, with the way that this test has been set, it is no longer a pass-fail test. I will share with you the minimum thresholds the state has set in order to identify readiness, but also the state has allowed for students to show advancement and acceleration in other areas to help offset the differences that they might need for those 18 points. So those minimum thresholds. The minimum thresholds, as you can see here on the screen, are 4 points in English. That is between the English 1 and English 2 or English 9 and English 10 test. Our district currently is offering those during freshman and sophomore year. But as we proceed and progress and look at advancement and acceleration of students, some of these will be offered during their years in middle school. Again, in math, we have that 4-point threshold through Algebra 1 and geometry. Some districts will use an integrated pathway of Math 1 and Math 2, but because we utilize the Algebra 1 and geometry assessment and coursework, those are the tests that we align best with. And again, these might be taken during high school, but we do have some students that are taking the Algebra 1 during their middle school years. The other area that they're measuring is the 6 points in science and social studies. The American history and American government are the consistents. Our class of 2018 has a little mix and match where some students have taken a physical science and others have taken a biology. Some students may have actually taken both of those tests. And what we will be utilizing is the highest score of those 2 areas assessed in order to measure this 18 points that we are trying to identify with. If you do and add the math that's here listed, the 4, 4, and 6, you'll see that you have 14 points. The concern with this is although you have hit the minimum thresholds as identified by the state of Ohio, the threshold of 18 points has not been met yet. So a student still continue to retest in these areas to try to make sure that we can get to the 18 points as needed. So as we kind of work through these, we will be identifying students that will need to retake the assessments and continue to work through the state testing need. So as you can see here, we have an example set up, identifying the minimum thresholds, but also trying to work through the 18 points for state test readiness. Here's example 1. Looking at example 1, first thing that we're looking at here is, can we identify if a student has achieved the 18 points as set by the state of Ohio? This student has. You can see the 22 points. But when we look closer at the numbers, The concerning area here is this English 1, English 2. The student has only achieved 3 points of the 4 points that were needed to achieve that minimum threshold. Although reaching this 22 points, this student would not be eligible for graduation because they have not hit all subscore thresholds. Example 2, as we look through the numbers, you can see here that this student has achieved all the minimum thresholds. However, the 17 points is not the 18-point requirement and does not meet the standard. The third area here, or third example, student does hit the 19 points, and as you look through the numbers, 2 and 3 is 5, the 4 and 3 is 7, and we have another 7 here in the science social studies area, which will achieve graduation. The state has also created some substitutions because some students, again, on this acceleration plan, do not have state tests in all these areas. So if a course was offered prior to July 1st of 2015, and they took and participated in that course, they will use a letter grade instead of their points from a state test. And those point values and equivalencies are listed. Some students are taking College Credit Plus courses. Those College Credit Plus courses in the areas of social studies and science will be allowed to be substituted for the state testing need. Another area is this area of advanced placement. So if a student is taking an AP test and it's applied to the subject area, these students, again, can use these areas for an equivalency. If a student is taking an AP test or a College Credit Plus course, although being able to use the letter grade for an equivalency set by the standards by the state of Ohio, these students will still take the Ohio State test in addition to that CCP course and or the AP test. The state last year, starting again with the class of 2018, has set aside the ACT as we have set aside the ACT for the all junior ACT test. And again, here's these minimum thresholds that a student must achieve in order to undo the consequences of the Ohio State test. If your child takes the SAT instead of the ACT, these would be the thresholds as identified again by the state of Ohio. The state has also provided another pathway to graduation in addition to this Ohio State test. That pathway is this industry credential and workforce readiness. A student that might go to Ohio High Point, a Provide Career Center, or even taken a satellite program course here at Graham Local Schools could potentially earn industry credentials in one of these many pathways. If they earn 12 points through these State Board of Education approved industry credentials, and then take the ACT work keys and earn the minimum threshold score there, they will still graduate. So an example here is the state tested nurse assistant license, typically taken in a health tech program. If a student would earn this while they were a student at Graham Local Schools, they would earn 12 points in this industry credential. This student would be asked to take the ACT work keys and then try to hit, again, the minimum scores as set by the state of Ohio. By doing this, the student would achieve the needed graduation score or graduation test requirement. So, this information is being shared in order to assist and prepare readiness for our students at Graham High School. In addition to this, I will be sharing with you a web link for the earning of the high school diploma and some frequently asked questions. I will share these links with you through the Falcon Flyer. And if you have any questions, feel free to call the school at 937-663-4127. Thank you very much.